All right, so what's going on, everybody? Al Gattullo here, and we are up to episode number. Can you imagine it? It's episode number 11. I don't even have enough hands. I have to do this and then this and whatever, but you know, that's the deal. We're up to episode 11 of the Al Gattullo Craft Beer videocast, and got some great news for you. We'll get to that a little bit later on, but I wanted to get right into one of the beers, and it's a seasonal beer, and we've talked about this company before. It's Kona Brewing, and it's their Koko Brown Aloha series. This is a brown ale brewed with toasted coconut. It is awesome. It's a beer you should absolutely try if you have the opportunity to pick it up in your stores, but you got to get out to the stores now to get it because it's only in for a couple of months and then it's out the door. Much like the pipeline porter that we spoke about over a month ago. The Koko Brown, the toasted coconut one, is fantastic, but you got to get it quickly because it's in and out of the stores real fast. Couple of months and it's in and out. So we'll get into talking about Kona Brewery again in just a couple of minutes. Got some great news, but first, let's give you that little educational palette for you about craft beer and why I do this show, because I want you, the viewer, to explore the world of craft beer. It's awesome. It's a great thing. You get a couple of different craft beers. You go to your local liquor store, or if you're in New York, obviously your local supermarket, they'll have some craft beers there, but better off to go to a specialty store, pick up some stuff, get together with a couple of friends, and sample and enjoy the delights of craft beer. So what is craft beer? It's small. It's an annual production of 6 million barrels or less. It's independent. It's less than 25% of the brewery owned by a big beer maker, and it's traditional. It's down-to-earth, traditional ingredients and fermentation. That's our little summary of craft beer, and then, of course, we have our craft beer terms that we're going to use. I'll talk to you about ABV, which is alcohol by volume, how strong a particular beer is, and, of course, IBU, the International Bittering Units, which tells you how bitter a beer is. Now, Kona Brewing, the company was founded on Valentine's Day of 1995. So think about it. They have been around now this is coming up on their 21st year of brewing beer on the island of Hawaii. 10 styles of beer are brewed on a regular basis. Their four biggest sellers, which is their Longboard Lager, their Big Wave, their Fire Ale, and I believe one of their IPAs is some of their biggest sellers, brewed on a regular basis. And those four, by the way, that I just mentioned, they are, along with some of their seasonal brews, distributed throughout all 50 states, and obviously in other countries, but you can get it in all 50 states, those four beers that I mentioned. Obviously, the seasonal stuff, the Pipeline Porter, the Koko Brown, those you can only get in limited quantities. And now you're saying to yourself, okay, so the beer is brewed in Hawaii, and then it gets shipped all the way across the country, let's say to New Jersey or New York. Now, Kona Brewing is pretty smart. What they've done is they've partnered up with a couple of different breweries that brew beer on the East Coast to get it to their East Coast people, West Coast in California, in the Midwest. So they're actually pretty smart about it so that it's not taking so long to get to you because, of course, beer can go stale. You know, we're talking about IPAs recently, which have made a big splurge, on the craft beer scene. And a lot of these IPAs should be drunk within a couple of months. They really shouldn't be sitting for too long. You really want to get them when they're at their freshest. So pretty smart by Kona Brewing. So now we're going to talk about the Koko Brown beer. As you can see by the bottle here, it's an ale brewed with toasted coconut. It's awesome. I'm telling you, it's one of the best I've ever had, and you really should try it. So the IBUs on this is 26.7%. Then you've got an ABU of 5.5. Now, the IBU at 26.7, not that bitter at all. Nice, easy, drinkable beer. 5.5% on the ABUs, ABVs, excuse me. Not that bad. So, I mean, you can have a few of these and not feel too full or too drunk, by the way. But, of course, please drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. If you're going to do this, do it in the privacy of your home or make sure that you have a ride. The malts in the beer, pale, dark chocolate malt, Victory and aromatic, and the hops, Cascade, Willamette, and Millennium hops. It's got a nutty toffee flavor to it, and they brew it with real toasted coconut. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. You can't imagine. So I got my glass, I've got my bottle of beer. We're going to pick it up. We're going to pour it. We're going to give it a nice, good pour. See, let me get that in there. Yeah, there we go. Now you're talking. Good to the last drop. I love these can beer glasses. They're awesome. Got this at the Garden State Brew Fest last year. Good stuff. So let's make sure we get a little bit of the last drippings there out of there. So Koko Brown, the Aloha series from Kona Brewing. On first smell, you really get the flavor of coconut. Comes right, I mean, the moment you crack the bottle, you get a nice coconut nutty flavor. Let's give it a nice good sip. Oh, wow. That is like, if you're not a big coconut fan, you're going to like this beer, and I'll tell you why. The coconut doesn't overpower you. Sometimes, spices in a beer will overpower you if they put too much of it in it. The coconut is very subtle, but yet it has a big flavor to it, and really is the binding of the beer. It really makes you enjoy it that much more. It goes down very smooth. It's not a typical brown ale that you would normally drink. The coconut is just very subtle, but yet big at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. That's kind of how I get it. We've tried the Death by Coconut. That has a very powerful coconut flavor, and if you're really not into coconut, you might be turned off by it. This is just a perfect sipping beer. Maybe you got a little fire going at night, wintertime. Yeah, I mean, that's just, it's smooth. You can smell the coconut. It doesn't overpower you, and just really nice going down. I'm telling you, you cannot go wrong with this beer. I would, if you're going to do this with friends and you want to put some food and some snacks out, definitely chocolate would go great with this. I would say some kind of creamier cheeses, not hard cheeses, but some creamier cheeses would probably go better with this. On crackers or however you want to put them out. Again, it's a seasonal brew, and definitely the other thing that you get from this, not only the coconut, a little bit of toffee mixed in as well. It's got a little nutty, little toffee. You definitely get that balance there. Neither one of them really overpower the other. Like I said, it is one of the perfect, if you're going to get into drinking craft beer, and we talked about it in the beginning of this series that I've put out, you want to go with a balanced beer. That's why I had mentioned the Blue Point Toasted Lager is a perfect starting point if you're getting into craft beer. This, if you want to get into beers that have more complex flavors, the Koko Brown from Kona Brewing Company is the perfect way to get started. But again, seasonal, got to look for it in the stores very quickly when it comes out, because once it goes in and it goes out, and that's it, and see you later. So that's Koko Brown from Kona Brewing Company. They do a fantastic job. Their Longboard Lager, another easy drinking beer, very simple. That's another one. Like if you like Bud, and let's face it, I mean, most of us got started drinking Budweiser. Not to say that Longboard is like I would say Longboard is their Budweiser. Let's put it that way, okay? Very easy drinkable beer. You'd love it. It's fantastic. But this Koko Brown, out of sight. I can't say enough about it. The coconut is so, you can smell it, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be like, oh my God, after 3 sips, I don't want to drink anymore. It's perfect. Honestly, it's perfect. I have to have another sip. That is fantastic. I mean, really fantastic. So, some other stuff that I've tried over the past few weeks, haven't been with you. Amagang's Lovely Dark and Deep, which is a winter ale. Otter Creek Couch Surfer, very good. Stout, oatmeal, chocolate flavors, good stuff. Kind of like Wolliver's Oatmeal Stout as well, which Wolliver's Oatmeal Stout is going out because they're not producing the organic beers anymore. So if you can grab an oatmeal stout from Wolliver's, go get it, or their coffee porter. Both of them outstanding, but they are going out of production. But Otter Creek's Couch Surfer, a great alternative as well. Blue Point's Sour Cherry Imperial Stout. I can't say enough about this one either. I mean, that is a great Imperial Stout. You really get the sour cherry flavor, and it's not that sour where you can't have a lot of it, but it's strong, so take it easy. And they have mass-produced them in big bottles as well. Sierra Nevada's Celebration Ale. It's an IPA, hoppy, very bitter, got a nice bite to it. Great stuff from the guys at Sierra Nevada. Boulevard Brewing, this was a good one. Not that big a fan of Boulevard Brewing stuff, but their early riser coffee porter, excellent. Coffee flavor and a little burnt on the back end, but not too much that you wouldn't want to have it over and over again. Had it on tap, fantastic. Heavy Seas from Loose Cannon, another great IPA, very fruity, floral. I like it a lot. That's one I have to try a little bit more. And then I had the Thomas Hooker Chocolate Truffle Stout on tap at my favorite place, Paragon Tap and Table here in Clark, New Jersey. That was outstanding. It's even better on tap than it is in the bottle. And I urge you, if you have the opportunity, you really should seek it out. Now, some big news on the Craft Beer Videocast. Actually going to be doing a radio show around it on the radio station that I work for, AM 970 The Answer in New York. We're going to be doing a craft beer radio show, sort of like what I do here, except it's going to be an hour long. We're going to interview different brewers and people who are into craft beer. Lots of surprises. We're going to have giveaways, all kinds of stuff as well. It's going to start in February, and very excited about it. And listen, if you want some more information on it, if you're a brewer and you want to get in on it, because we're looking for, obviously we're looking for beers to try, we're looking for sponsors, we're looking for all kinds of different things. Contact me, Albert G at nycradio.com. That's Albert G at nycradio.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Al Gattullo. That's ALGATTULLO. And very excited. This is going to be an hour show. It's going to be weekly. We're going to have podcasts for it. You'll be able to stream it online so you can listen to it, obviously in the United States as well as around the world. I'm going to teach you more about craft beer, and I'm going to get an hour each week to do it. So I am very excited about that, and I hope you'll listen. It's going to be a lot of fun. Still going to do the video casts. Maybe they'll be a little longer, a little shorter. What we're looking to do also with the radio show is incorporate video with the audio. So a prospective brewer, you want to come in, talk about your beer, we're going to capture you on video, and then we want to get that video on your website so that people can learn more about your beer. Very exciting. So I hope that you'll check that out. As soon as we have a start time and a date, we will get that to you, of course. So very important. Follow me on Twitter at Al Gattullo, ALGATTULLO. A couple people that I want to thank. First of all, about the radio show, got to thank my guy Darren Yellen, one of the sales guys, really behind the program. Can't wait to get working with him. Jerry Crowley, the general manager of AM 970 The Answer, who also championed that. And Joe Piscopo, who I work for in the morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on AM 970 The Answer. Thank you, Joe. Big believer in the program and solidly behind me. Thank you very much. My good friend Buddy Watson. Couldn't have done this show without him and his advice as well. My buddy Mike from Paragon used to be the GM over at Paragon Tap and Table, as well as the Morris Tap and Grill. Unfortunately, he left there, and now he's over at Jack's Cabin in Hoboken, but he'll still do some stuff for Paragon as well. Big event coming up in 2 weeks at Paragon. Captain Lawrence Brewing, Tap Takeover. It's going to be great. It's on a Thursday night. Details are on the screen. You can check that out if you're in New Jersey, over by Clark. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be there for a little bit, hoping to see you out there. And my good buddy, Rob Feeney, who honestly, this craft beer videocast and the adjacent radio show could not have been done without him. Real quick, I'm going to tell you the story. It's hysterical. Back in August, he and I were heading to the pool in our town here, and I was with my son. Unfortunately, a kid took a dump in the pool, and we couldn't get in the pool. So it's a hot day. We have nothing to do. What do? I said, well, you know what? Why don't you come back to my house? We'll hang out. We'll have a couple of beers in the backyard. Had a couple of new beers from Coronado Brewing, and I tweeted out a picture of the beer. I was very impressed with it. First time trying it. One of the people from Coronado got back to me, said, we'd love to send you some beers. Thanks for giving us some West Coast love on the East Coast. A couple of weeks later, I got the beers from them. And in the backyard, while we're sitting there during all of this, Rob turns to me and says, you should do a radio show about this. This is perfect. You know so much about it. It's right in your wheelhouse. So thank you to the kid who took a dump in the pool at the Clark Community Pool, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been in my backyard sitting with Rob, drinking beers from Coronado and coming up with the idea, or at least Rob very much so, coming up with the idea to do this show. So, sometimes you take a dump and it's productive, We sit on the toilet, you're thinking about things. This kid decided to take one in the pool, and for that, he has introduced a beer show. So thought I would share that all with you, and hopefully you haven't turned it off or vomited yet. Anyway, we'll be back next week with another great beer. And the radio show is going to be starting in just a couple of weeks. I hope that you will tune in. I will absolutely get to you the time and date of when that's going to start. We're hoping for Super Bowl weekend to get it fired up, but we'll see. So thanks again for joining us. Again, Koko Brown, a beer from Kona Brewing out in Hawaii. And, everybody, listen, have a great day. Enjoy drinking craft beer. Have some with a couple of friends. You're going to have a great time, okay? We'll talk to you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.